Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Weather's back to being a little gloomy, windy, a little drizzly, cooler, but we've got some colder weather coming in. Looking like starting probably about the 7th, 8th of January on through for a week or so, maybe two. Not just us, but a lot of you. A lot of you are going to be experiencing some colder weather. Now, I've been telling you for the last few days that you should probably start preparing for this. But it's not so much that I think it's going to be record-shattering, unseen cold weather. It's just that it's the first big cold snap for a lot of you, and sometimes that catches you off guard. There's a lot of hype right now. I think some of it is just, or maybe a lot of it, is just people trying to, drum up the traffic, the internet traffic, get some clicks going on. It's too far out to know for sure what's going to happen. And I'm not an expert, but there are several that have already said that. It's too far out yet. There's different models going on that's showing really, really bad weather. Others showing it just kind of your normal cold snap during the middle of winter. And a lot of the stuff that's being shared online showing like 30 and 40 below zero is probably not going to happen. And sometimes it's 30 to 40 degrees below normal, or 30-degree negative wind chill possible and stuff. So don't freak out too much just yet. Give it a few more days, and your local weather forecaster will start to have a better grasp on what's coming. But it's still smart to go ahead and get yourselves prepared for it. Saw this morning that Vladimir Putin has rejected Donald Trump's peace plan for Ukraine. That was, if you remember, I know it's been so long ago, like 2 months ago, but that he was elected. But remember, during the campaign, that's one of his big campaign promises, was to end the war within the first 24 hours. He seemed to have backed away from that initial promise, and it's now just trying to, eventually end the war. But there's just, I know there's the belief that Donald Trump is buddies with Putin and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that that's just gonna, simply end. The Biden administration is sending an absolute ridiculous amount of money and weapons over to Ukraine, and Donald Trump himself has said that he would support continually funding the Ukrainian war. So I don't think that war is probably going to end on the first day. Maybe in the first 6 months it's possible, but first day is probably unlikely. There's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to wars, and so we're just in that kind of state globally, that time period, that there's just wars going on, and that's all been foretold. Yeshua himself said that, so we just have to get ready for that. As far as this bird flu and pandemic and stuff, it is starting to grow some legs. The story of it is starting to grow some legs. There's been several articles in the last couple of days in mainstream news bringing out some of the people from the COVID era, these doctors and stuff, kind of trying to hype things up. Not just about the bird flu, but also about norovirus, COVID. The COVID numbers are extremely high right now. Well, yeah, maybe, but it's also the seriousness of it is really low. It's become just the common cold, which is really what it most always has been. But anyways, the point is that this is really being talked about a lot. So I suspect with a certain population, certain percentage of the population, that the fear factor is starting to rise. And people are going to be paying attention to it more. They're going to be going to the doctor more. There's going to be more doctors and clinics doing testing of this more. And so just the internet and the TV hype of it, that alone has the strong possibility of just pushing this thing to much higher levels. And so we have to, like I said, we have to get prepared. It's just like I said way back at the beginning of COVID. If you were watching me then, I was saying the same thing. Number one, this could actually be a serious, deadly illness. It's possible. So you have to prepare for it in that way. It's foolish to just assume that if H5N1 becomes a full pandemic, transmitting amongst human population easily, that it will be no different than COVID in its severity. It's foolish to assume that. So you have to have certain preparations for if it is really bad. Either way, if this is pushed into a full pandemic, we know that people in government are going to react to it. We know that all the beta testing of COVID will probably be more profound. They've perfected it now, and so we'll have to deal with that. So, like I said, this is starting to really grow legs. Newsweek has done an article. A lot of the morning mainstream TV, cable TV shows are all talking about this. They're talking about how there's that mutation in Louisiana that's made it more susceptible to any humans, and then I guess now they found another cow or some cattle that it was slightly mutated there, also making it more susceptible, more transmissible in the human population. Every day now, pretty much, there's stories in the news of different, types of bird farms, chicken, poult, some type of duck, geese, things like that they're having to cull the whole herd because they had a positive pop. There's stories about wild geese on the Mississippi River floating dead. There's stories of other birds, pigeons and stuff. They're finding them dead. Who knows if this is all connected, but it probably is. And all it's doing, it's just building the hype and it's building the fear. And so trying to stay ahead of this, we should probably prepare. And I know some of you are going to say, well, what do you mean? Well, give me the details. Were you living under a rock for the last 4 or 5 years? You should have a pretty good idea of how to prepare. If you want to know specifics of natural things that you can do to your body to improve your immunity and stuff, you can go over and watch my locals channel, because I don't talk about that stuff on YouTube every single time. I was suspended numerous times during the whole COVID thing, and every single time it was because of that. So I ain't doing that here. If you want to know that, go over and watch it on locals. But we have to prepare, because it seems to be happening. It's happening in a little bit more of a slower motion, maybe, possibly, than COVID, but it does seem to be, starting to take place. And this one, because it's already, and I'm trying to figure out how they're playing this game, because it is a little different. With COVID, according to the official story, it started overseas, and then little by little it popped up, here. You know the story. This one's different. It's already in just about every state. It's in animals in every state, but it's already in just about every state and in many different countries. And so when it starts to make the full mutation to where it's in humans, it's very possible that all of the virus that's in all those states could start mutating also. So instead of just having, New York and Dallas and Portland, Oregon and LA and stuff have cases pop up, it could just be everywhere. So while it seems like it's slow paced right now, if this does fully become a human, virus, it could just overnight literally explode. And so we have to be prepared for that. And I encourage you to make appropriate precautions. If you think it's nothing, then whatever. You think it's nothing, you'll find out. We'll find out. We'll figure out what's going on later on. But I think it's very worthwhile and wise to start preparing for that. One final note before we get off of here. Many of you, unless you've just recently started following me, many of you know I'm a volunteer at my local rural volunteer fire department. And I talked about this about a year ago. We did something like this. It worked great. We are all volunteer. We do not get any taxes for our fire department. Our fire department is not tax funded. It is funded by donations. It is funded by people paying member dues every year, which are very, very low. We have the lowest dues in the state. And so the big majority of stuff that we do as volunteer firemen and volunteer EMS, a lot of it just comes out of our own pocket. And so I have put together a gift registry list on Amazon for medical supplies, because that's the stuff that we use the most often. You know, as with most fire departments, volunteer and full-time career, 60, 70, maybe even 80% or more of our calls are all medical. And it's hard to come up sometimes with the money to provide for just those simple things, those basic bandages and various things that we use on medical calls. So I've put together a gift registry, and if you feel so inclined, you can go over there and look at it, purchase something, and it will be shipped to us. And if you don't want to, if you can't afford it, then certainly don't do it. I don't want you putting this over paying a bill or something you need to do. But I know that there's people out there that's capable of doing that. And a lot of these items are fairly, low priced. And it helps us out. I know you're probably going to say, well, that's not benefiting my area. No, but it is benefiting a lot of people. We've taken around 300 medical calls over the last year. And for a small department like us, that's quite a bit. And we provide very high quality service in this area when it comes to medical. And so what you're seeing on that list is medical stuff. So if you could, then go ahead and do it. There'll be a link down in the description, the comment section below, where you can kind of figure out if there's anything you'd like to help us out with. All right, folks, take this stuff seriously. This H5N1 looks like it could be something big happening. So start getting your houses in order and preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.